Mountaindweller, written by PolarisShra, struck the earth. Rist was a simple dwarf. He woke up, ate a mushroom biscuit, had a pint, then journeyed into the depths of the mines of his mountain home. Day in and day out, excavating boulder after boulder, stone after stone, ore after ore. Life was simple. Life was good. Life was an honest hard day's work under the mountain. One day, however, he finds something better left buried. Stumbling into a seemingly bottomless pit, Rist found everything changed when he landed somewhere else. Now with old hooves and an equine body, the dwarf-turned-changeling has to figure out life on the surface, his new life, not as a bearded creature of drink and industry, but as a shape-shifting love vampire. At least he can still do well. Tick. 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 The sound of metal striking stone echoed in the stony depths as pickaxe struck rock again and again. Deep in the caverns and tunnels beneath the mountain of sturdy stone was a dwarf. A dwarf is an interesting creature, 2 legs, 2 arms, a great wealth of facial hair, and a penchant for anything beneath the ground. A creature of drink and industry. The dwarf picked away at the stony wall, grumbling as rock powder coated his leather outfit. With a great red beard and emerald green eyes, the dwarf exemplified the appearance of his people. Short, stout, and hairy. Rist grumbled under his breath with every strike of his pickaxe against the sturdy stone wall. The memories of the past week rang in his mind as stone gave way to steel. Rist, fetch me some parchment. Tick. Oh, Rist, bring me a drink. Tick. Rist, I need another inkwell. Tick. Who does the tree-climbing half-wit think he is, ordering me around? Tick. All this effort for some knife-eared sap. Tick. The dwarf was angry, and he had every right to be. Orders were orders, even if in there was an elf. It was not Rist's fault the silver tongue of the Fae convinced his brothers that he was the right choice to lead, but it certainly put a damper on his and everyone else's spirits once the new mayor took charge. Heavier mining quotas, stricter break times, and ridiculously unnecessary production orders plagued the dwarven barrow. Rist wouldn't have minded all that. Every leader they've instituted at least one of these measures, after all, if not for the mayor's book. That book was no dwarven book. It did not contain recipes for ale or mead, nor did it contain family histories or past wrongs. The mayor's book was an unknown, and they never were seen without it. Rumors spread, of course. Was it a wizard's book, containing spells of unknowable power and risk? Was it a tome of information, taken from the fort to sell when the elf inevitably would betray them? Or, was it a tome of necromancy, containing the secrets of life or death, and begetting the readers to unnatural life and power? Nobody knew. None but the mayor. And that made Rist mad. Luckily for everyone though, that just meant he worked harder. Every frustrated swing of his pick cleared more and more rubble, great boulders were dislodged and set aside for other dwarves to collect and haul up to the mason recent grinders. That did not stop him from picking his way through the deep shale. At least, for a while, until something new caught his eye, jarring him from his picking. A glint among the dark stone. A smile crossed his face, as he lowered his pick in favor of the more precise chisel. Striking it gently with the back end of the pickaxe, forged in the shape of a hammer, he uncovered an amazing sight. A shard of black glass. Obsidian. At first, he had thought it onyx, but obsidian was special. Great wealth was to be found in deposits of volcanic rock and glass. Hefting his pickaxe once more, he struck the rock in front of him with renewed vigor. The shale fell away, revealing more of the black rock. Striking into the revealed obsidian, he gripped one that brittle glass sheared nearly effortlessly against his steel. Each strike carved away more and more, until a new mineral caught his eye. A red stone, fiery as the forge's heart and just as beautiful. Taking out his chisel, Rist carefully carved away at the sunstone, dislodging it from its obsidian home. He raised the gemstone, inspecting it eagerly, before setting it aside, atop one of the boulders. Where there was one gemstone, there was bound to be more. Raising his pick, he struck again, but what he saw was no gemstone. No, it was something much, much more valuable. A teal strand pierced through the black rock. Astonished, Rist could not believe his luck. He had done it. He had found something worthy of landing him in the books of myth. By my beard. He struck with his pickaxe. While it sheared straight through the rock, it stopped like a dime on the ore. Adamanting. Ha ha, I'm rich. He grinned widely, stepping back to nurse a hearty laugh. Ha ha, my ancestors have truly blessed me this day. With renewed vigor, he swung his pickaxe down around the teal strand of ore, freeing more of it from its black prison. striking the rock behind it. He put his muscle into each blow, eager to shear off just a bit of the mythical ore to bring back. However, as he raised his pick to deliver the harvesting blow, he found his pick swinging past the rock, right into a deep pit that was only inches under him, supported only with the obsidian he just dug through. Where now? He stumbled, dropping his pickaxe into the dark pit below. He felt heat surging up through the recent hole in the stone, before he let out a yell as his steel boots lost their grip on the roughly picked obsidian. Wrist fell, and he fell for a while. Hot wind burned at his face and ruffled his beard as dark, nameless things whizzed by on both sides of him, uncaring as he fell into a deeper and deeper pit, with no bottom in sight. Wrist had been a miner all his life, yet he could not identify anything in the dark depths, even before the final wisps of light faded. Wrist was unsure for how long he's been falling. Minutes. Hours. What he knew was that the air no longer stung his face. In fact, it felt like there was no air at all. Just an endless pit of nothing. What's worse, is that he grew bored. What angry god would taunt someone with death for so long? And so, he prayed. He prayed to any that might hear his pleas for a merciful end. He prayed to his ancestors, so that they may welcome him to the grand feasting halls. He prayed to the gods, both good and evil and everything in between, so that his fall may end quick and painlessly. He prayed to the spirits, to find him safe passage to wherever one goes at the end of their days. Wrist saw the floor. A smooth, dark black surface awaited him below, somehow standing out among the black void he was falling through. He closed his eyes, tensing his body as he prepared for the pain of his final moments. Just before he impacted, he could have sworn he heard something, amid the darkness and the sound of air rushing by his head, a voice. A taunting, mischievous laughter. Be careful what you wish for, dwarf. When Wrist hit the floor, he felt, for just a moment, like the material flexed. He heard a snap of fingers, before everything went black. At least it was painless. Painless it was not. My head, he groaned, writhing on his back. His head ached something fierce. A sharp pain through his back reminded him that it was not just his head that hurt, his everything hurt. He felt like he got hit head-on by one of the leaden carts used to trap the entrance to the Mountaindweller. Not only that, but he felt strange. His back, while forcing pained groans from his lips, felt entirely wrong. It was too long. He didn't feel quite right laying flat on his back, so he flopped to the side, drawing another noise of pain from him. A hiss. A hiss is not the sound a dwarf makes, that he knew. Biting his tongue, he grunted, feeling another new change. His teeth were no longer the blooded grinders of those that can consume the minerals, but sharpened daggers of a predator. Two large fangs protruded from his mouth, drawing a gasp from him. Oh, by my beard, he hissed again as new pain shot up his legs. Every muscle ached as he sat up slowly, before reaching up to his head to rub away some of the pain. As he did, he could not help but recoil at the sight he saw. His arm, well, what used to be his arm, was no longer the hairy, roughly calloused hands of a dwarf. Awaiting him was an arm of black chitin, holes peering straight through his limb. His hands were gone, replaced by the hoods of some sort of equine. He shook his head. Either he was cursed, or his memory of the past day is all wrong and he just had a bad batch of mushroom wine. Wrist shook his head and tried to stand, only to immediately flop forward onto his already sore face. He was thankful that whatever the chitin was made of, it was sturdy enough to protect against the impact. He still felt it, but there wasn't any pain beyond the pain of his aching body. He blinked, slowly and unsteadily getting to all fours, finally taking a moment to shift his focus from his body to his surroundings. He was right at home. A nice, dark cave, underground. There was a small pool of water to his left, and a tunnel to his right. He could smell the outdoors, the smell of flowers and trees greeted him. The surface was close. His ears twitched, his new jacket, chitinous ears, another reminder of his new state. Standing shackily, he looked down at the stone floor. Curse you, whatever did this. Curse you. He hissed at the sound of his voice. While it didn't sound all too different, there was an unfamiliar buzz in the undertone that was just different enough to chalk up to another thing to be upset about. Wrist went a step forward, only to fall forward again. He grumbled deeply, feeling the heart rock against his chitin. Not the worst feeling in the world, all things considered. But his aching limbs and drying tongue demanded something to drink. Normally, he'd seek out a nice mug of ale or other brew, but with naught but a small pool of water in the surface, he figured the odds of finding a proper drink would have to wait. No, water will do, it'll have to. Much to Wrist's continued frustration. If only he could figure out walking with this new body, anyways. Standing, he tried again, taking a step slowly, only to once again find he is, thankfully chitin-armored, jaw impacting the cavern floor. Curse these hoods too. He shouted to the air, slapping the ground with the offending limbs for a moment to vent his mounting angers. Whatever sick, twisted deity has done this to him deserved entire chapters written about their wrongdoings, he swore it. After a fair few attempts, he found himself able to walk at a slow pace, one hoof after the other. But at least his face went unsmashed on the cavern floor. Walking to the edge of the water pool, he finally had the opportunity to look at his reflection, muddled as it may be. Peering back at him was not the bearded face of the dwarf, solid teal eyes looked back. Black flesh was covered by blacker chitin, while a matching fin ran down the center of his head to his neck. A pair of sharp fangs stuck awkwardly from his equine muzzle, and a sharp, curved horn stuck from his forehead. My beard. Not the beard. Wrist shouted angrily, kicking the water. Turn me into a bug horse. Put holes in my legs. Give me a horn even. But not the beard. Never take the beard. He hissed. What was mounting frustrations and inconveniences boiled over to full-on rage within the former dwarf. A tantrum of mighty proportions was growing as he slowly walked to the nearest rock and kicked it, ignoring his need to drink in favor of taking out his anger on the environment. The rock sailed into the pool of water, and his hoof throbbed with sadness and pain. Letting out a frustrated yell, then a grunt, he collapsed by the water. He could feel his body more fully now. He felt a short tail behind him, a quick look revealed wispy gray hairs confirming the sensation. He grumbled in their general direction, it wouldn't bring his beard back. A strange shell adorned his back, with two frail wings. Seeing those made him snort in amusement. Oh, that's new. New and brilliant. Gods and spirits, you have a mighty sense of humor. Take my beard, take my tail, turn me into a bug horse, and now this. A dwarf that can fly. He laughed. It was not a merry laughter. It was a wheezing, coughing, malignant laughter brought forth from frustration as Wrist's mind struggled to comprehend things. He laid his head down on the stone, his laughter interrupted as the pool of water brushed against his snout. The cold water snapped him from his breaking mirth, reminding the dwarf of his body's growing demand for something to sate his thirst. Against his better wishes, he opened his mouth and drank freely. The water was clear and mineral-rich, yet that appeased not Wrist. It was no mug of fine dwarven beer, brewed by masterful trained hands. No, this was natural and pure. He needed it, so he drank, yet took the time to make another mental note to chalk up against whatever horde magic did this to him. Withdrawing his head, he let out a soft gasp as he took in fresh cave air. Getting back to his hooves, he looked round once more, wincing as his sore muscles complained and demanded rest. Rest would not come, as new sensations started to grace the dwarf's senses. Senses he was fairly sure he did not have before. It felt bold. It wasn't a taste, persa, but it wasn't a scent either. It was akin to the memory of a time of adventure. Wrist let out a sigh. He didn't know the source, yet the feeling was all too pleasant. Then he heard it, the sound of hoods on stone. Hoods that were not his own. Then, a voice. Hello. An eye pony down here. A feminine voice called out. I heard yelling. Wrist stood still for a moment, before responding. I'm in here. I'll be right out, lassie, but ya might not like what ya see. Oh dear. Is an eye pony hurt? The voice called out again. I can't quite see in there. It's too dark. Come on out, it'll be okay. The dwarf's ears twitched. That word again, an eye pony. It sounded wrong, but also right. He slowly willed his hoods to move. One after the other, as he stepped from the shadows of the cave slowly to the light. Standing at the mouth of the cave was a pony mare. Wrist blinked at the peach-colored furred purplish mane, alongside the wagon wheel tattooed across her flank. Her eyes widened as she saw the big pony step into the light. Her body froze as a shard of fear gripped her heart. CH changeling. She screamed. Wrist raised a brow in confusion. He'd never heard of a changeling before. Lass, I assure you, I am not a changeling. He called out. It was too late. Something sour tainted his new senses. The mare had already fainted onto the soft grass. By the time the mare's eyes fluttered awake, Wrist sat just beside her, looking out into the forest. He was amazed, not at the beauty of nature, but at how his eyes had already adapted to fresh sunlight. He was used to the darkness underground, and it is not unusual for those who spent too long beneath the soil to feel sick when going above it. He did not feel these ails as he looked around at the pristine forest around him. A calm breeze ruffled leaves above, while the afternoon sun was shielded away by the canopy. All in all, not something Rist appreciated. He heard a groan next to him as the mare's eyes slowly opened and focused. The moment she laid eyes on him, she shot awake, her hooves scrambling to find purchase on the soft grass outside the cave. Changeling! She screamed again. Rist rolled his pupils' eyes. There's that word again. Changeling. Lassie, I don't know what you're talking about. He grumbled. That sour feeling was back in the air, and he did not much appreciate it at all. The confused look on the insect pony's face, combined with the fact that she was both unbound, free, and decidedly not mind-controlled, brought the mare was. Huh. I said, I don't know what you're talking about. I've been cursed. Rist grumbled. Cursed. Oh. The mare smiled and wiped the sweat from her brow, before getting to her hooves. I guess I might have overreacted then. She looked Rist over. Unless you're lying to me. How do I know you're not lying? Rist grumbled. Lying would be a dishonor. He answered shortly, eyes narrowing. The feeling in the air had changed from sour to bitter. The mare shook her head. I can't trust that. Changelings lie. Her fears gripped her body. She wanted to run far away, to safety. She quivered as Rist took a step towards her, then turned and galloped. She galloped as fast as she could, past trees and by bushes, towards the road she was on when she first heard the changeling's yells. Rist said as the pony ran off. It's not the strangest creature he's seen speak, but it was his one chance at finding civilization. With little other choice, he made to follow that pony's direction. The cavern water was lacking in alcohol anyways, even talking pony booze had to be better. Stepping through the forest at a slow pace, he found himself navigating it fairly well. Whatever these new senses he had, they were certainly helping as he followed the feeding to a clearing, which led to a road. A road meant civilization, and civilization meant food and drink. He saw no signs, but a single abandoned cart on the road. Walking over to it, he saw the back of the cart was covered with a wide tarp. Leaning up against the cart, he gripped the tarp with his sharp teeth, and pulled it back, revealing the cart's contents. Crates and barrels greeted his sight. Tapping a hoof against the lid of a barrel, Rist looked at it with disappointment. It did not open like he wanted it to, so he pushed it a bit firmer. Still nothing. Third time's the charm. Hold it right there, changeling. Ponyville volunteer guard. Stand down. Rist turned from the barrel. Behind him stood a pair of ponies in armor, a pair of stallions. One held a spear and a hoof, somehow, while the second, Rist had trouble figuring it out. The spear levitated in front of them, surrounded with a cream-colored aura. He grumbled and felt his hooves from his position leaning on the barrel. You're going to be coming with us. The pony on the left spoke with a loud, confident voice. The one on the right, however, seemed a bit more meek. Rist noted that the confident pony had a horn jutting from his head, however, unlike his, it was not sharp nor was it curved. The stallion's horn was illuminated with the same cream aura as the levitating spear. Rist eyed him more warily. Magic was not unfamiliar to the dwarf-turned-changeling, but it was something to be careful of. Sir, that's actually a changeling. Are you sure we can, contain it? He whispered. Of course we can contain it. They can't shapeshift past the bars of a jail cell. I'd like to see them try. The confident guard whispered back, before looking to Rist once more. That's it, bud. Nice and easy. Now, lay down with your hooves out in front of you. The temptation for Rist to run was high. The golden metal of the guard's armor would make for a poor defense. But another look at those spears, if he knew anything of the clashes with giant spiders, it's that steel would beat chitin any day, and he doubted his own natural armor was anything comparable to those beasts. He stumbled to do as he was asked. I'm doing it. I haven't done a thing, though. PSSH, sure you didn't. And I'm married to Celestia. The unicorn guard joked as he approached. The more meat guard pulled a pair of hefts out, and slowly fastened them to Rist's foreheads while the confident guard kept them at spray point. You have anything to say for yourself, changeling? I do. I am innocent of whatever you think I did. He insisted with a grumble, only to feel a smooth, silver ring get slipped round his horn. He hissed instinctively, feeling that strange sense suddenly completely go silent. He shook his head quickly. What is that thing? Magic inhibitor. Can't have you changing on us before we get you transferred. Now, get up. Wrist stood, eyes firm as the ring, irritated senses he didn't even have until a few hours prior. Whatever sorcery this was, it was a foul evil. Part of him wondered if he should have been more sparing with his earlier prayers. A prod to the flank told him all he needed to know as he walked forward, following the unicorn guard's stride. The milder guard looked around. Don't you think he's a little short for a changeling? Giggle. Thank you for observing this visual transmission. If this media file successfully stimulated your reward circuits, please execute the like action, deposit a textual comment below, and transmit this data stream to a designated peer. Tilt head. Farewell,